A lot of you have been asking me to do a mixing tutorial. I am not a professional mixer, but if you don't know where to start, Auntie Alice can give you a few tips. First of all, mixing is easier if you have very good recordings or if you work with VST instruments, high quality samples. If you have bad recordings, you're going to be spending a lot of time fixing things before the actual mixing. That's actually step 1. Start from the best possible material. Step 2, the before mentioned material. I would prefer it to be audio. For me, if my MIDI has a reverb or a delay tail from the VST, I need that to be set in stone. I also don't want my computer to keep calculating the MIDI. And I also don't want to be tempted to keep changing it. So I would say render it to audio and also name your tracks. Step 3, if you can optimize your listening environment. I don't have an acoustically treated room myself, but I do listen to music pretty much the entire day on the same systems that I mix on. So I kind of know what my mixes should sound like. I'm not saying that they do. One thing I do use all the time to listen to my mixes, which is not in any way sponsored, but it's just a free plugin by Rogue Amoeba. It's called Airfoil. And you install Airfoil on your computer, and then you install the satellite app on your phone, and then you can use your phone as a speaker. Easy. Step 4, you have all of your tracks. The arrangement is done. First thing I do is I pull down all of my faders all the way down. If there's a vocal, I'll bring that up first, then maybe the drums, then maybe the bass, then like lead instruments, and then things like effects, pads, and all that. And you can completely scramble that order, that's up to you, but we are still only touching the volume faders. So anything that was in the middle is still in the middle. And now you spend some time fine-tuning this first balance that you made, just the levels. And by levels, I mean volume. Think about what needs to stand out. Like you want to hear the vocal, you want to hear the kick and the snare. Maybe you added an element that you're like, this is crucial to this song. Then make sure you hear it. And if you notice that all of the faders are starting to creep up again, pull them all back down, redo. Which brings me to step 5. This might be the perfect time to take a little break, rest your ears, come back to the project, and then maybe you're like, did I turn up the hi-hat this loud? That kind of thing. Step 6. So basically every step from here on is still going to be volume adjustment, but in different ways. So now the sounds are still in the middle, which means things are as loud on the left as they are on the right. So now we're going to do panning. We're going to make some things louder on one side. A couple of things should stay in the middle though, like the vocal, the kick, the snare, and the bass. All of the other tracks you can pan. To make the choices easier, the way I see it is you can go hard left, which means no volume on the right. Can you tell how I'm doing your left and not mine? That's professionalism, yeah. So you can go hard left, hard right, middle left, middle right, so 50%, or close left or right. And if panning means that you want to change the volume fader now, go ahead. Step 7, we can finally add a plugin, an EQ, which means changing the volume, but for certain frequencies. You can see it in the plugin. Here we have all of the audible frequencies on the piano here. High notes, high frequencies, low notes, low frequencies. And when you play the track, you can see how loud all of the frequencies get, up to 0 dBFS. And I'll link a video that explains all those kind of terms as well. And these little handles work like a fader. So now you can see that I pulled this frequency down, 12 decibels. And if you don't want it to affect all these frequencies, you can increase the Q, or you can make it super wide. I'm not going to go into every detail here. That might be a new video. If you guys want that, let me know in the comments. So for mixing, how are you going to use this? First of all, most tracks do not need all of this bass information. Keep the low frequencies for your actual bass, 808s, kicks as well. For anything else, just play the entire track without soloing anything. And then track by track, you can try rolling off the bass, or you can use a shelf. And if it's not taking anything important out of the mix, just keep it rolled off. We don't need all of this low-end rumble. If anything, it's going to get in the way of the bass. What you do up here, it depends. A lot of the time, I'll do nothing because I work with nice drum samples, VST sounds. So if I use an EQ, it'll more often be for production purposes than for actual mixing. And if you find yourself pulling down a bunch of these, remember you're just pulling down the volume. So the solution might be to leave these up and just lower the main fader, which leads me to something else, volume automation. If you keep moving the fader up and down as you're mixing, it's not that you can find the right volume for the track. It's that the right volume for the track probably changes over time, because an intro is not a verse and a verse is not a chorus. And guess what? A chorus is not a bridge. You get the point. Your track might have to go up and down in volume depending on the section of the song, which is automation. Step 9, we're going to change the volume some more, but this time we get to use another plugin, a compressor. With the volume automation from before, we changed the volume of a track for longer periods of time. A compressor does automatic volume automation that's more tailored to the signal on the track. So this is going to be a little oversimplified, but we tell the compressor, do not let the signal go any louder than here. And the compressor is constantly listening to the signal. And when the signal wants to go louder, the compressor is like, I'm making you less loud. I am compressing you. I do have a video on how a compressor works in some more detail. So if you're interested, I'll leave the link. Step 10, the final step. We took care of the dynamics, so anything volume related. We looked at the tone with the EQ. So one more thing we can do is put some elements in their own space. So this is kind of where you make the difference between production and mixing. If you want to learn more about production, I have a little series about production techniques. Go check that out. But today we're mixing, which means we're going to use reverb to maybe subtly push something back in the mix, or to make something sound super big and present. But if you're using reverb and delay for obvious effect, then you're more so in the production stage. So those are the basics. But Alice, you haven't even told me how much dB the reduction should be on my compressor. Which exact frequencies should I boost on my vocal? And how much pre-delay does my reverb need? Well, for those things, I can only give you very annoying answers, like it depends, use your ears, and especially it's gonna take some time and practice. And you can assume that if you're just starting out, you're gonna be doing too much. You're gonna wanna use all the nice fancy plugins, and that's fine. It's almost a mandatory phase. But I do hope you got something out of this. If you forgot it all, don't worry. I made you a mixing checklist, a link below. And if you have additional beginner mixing tips, please leave them in the comments. Would be much appreciated. And have fun making music.